Hey guys, welcome to session 3 of the Marriage Clinic. If you guys haven't watched the previous videos, I highly encourage you to at least go back and watch session 2. In session 2, I introduce some really important fundamentals of communication that create the foundation for communicating and moving forward in a relationship, specifically around talking about difficult issues, and especially if you're finding yourself in a relationship where you're constantly fighting and you feel like any conversation is going to lead into a kind of a fight, or that you're walking on eggshells and can't approach certain topics. This exercise, it's called Expressor Listener, what we covered last time, helps to make sure that both parties are heard and understood. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce an activity that's going to help you guys to create some structure around this exercise. And in particular, right, in the first video I talked about how I'm going to be giving away a lot of trade secrets about what marriage and family therapists are trained in. And part of the reason why I'm doing this is because the reality of it is that couples counseling or marriage counseling is expensive. I don't know of any therapists that do it for less than $120 per hour per session. And, not everyone can afford that. There are some places where you can find discounted rates, sliding fee scales, or community clinics. You can go to a university program where there are graduate students in training doing therapy. Those are often cheaper. But, if none of these are options for you, what I hope to do or to offer through this video series are some activities and exercises that you can work with your partner at home if you're not able to afford to go see a therapist, whether it's a marriage and family therapist or a counselor or a social worker or a psychologist or anyone else. Now, just a quick recap of the Expressor Listener exercise, right? The expressor first starts by talking about an issue, and I like to recommend starting with low-level issues, right? Don't start with the biggest thing that you guys fight about. Try to start with something small. Specifically, try to start with something external to the relationship, right? Just for the practice of the skill itself, try not to talk about something that's directly related to your partner. It helps if you instead talk about some other stress, like stress at work or something else. So the expressor starts off by saying, "I feel," and then they enter an emotion, right? Whatever emotion that they're experiencing, and then they go on to explain the situation that makes them feel that. The listener then comes in once they're done and summarizes or reflects back what was said. They don't add anything to it. They don't try to interpret it. They simply reflect back what was said and don't say anything else. You don't try to solve the problem. You don't try to apologize. Just reflect back. And this does wonders because it lets your partner know that what they said was heard. A good sign that you're not making your partner feel understood is if in your conversations or arguments you're going in circles. If you ever find yourself saying the same thing twice, then that means that your partner it felt like your partner didn't understand that point. The beauty of the reflection is that after you reflect back what your partner said, odds are they're not going to feel the need to say it again. And that's really the beauty, one of the big beauties of doing this exercise that helps keep the conversation moving forward rather than in circles. Now, just some other little pointers I want to point out for you guys while you guys do the Expressor Listener activity. One is try to stay on one topic at a time, right? I know it's very tempting to talk about other things and to go on. It's tempting, but try to stick to one and know that you'll have the opportunity to share what else is bothering you or on your mind after that. The more you share, the harder it is for your partner to reflect back what you're saying. So try to make it easy on them, and hopefully they'll also make it easy on you. Then after you've done expressing how you feel about that topic, and then your partner has reflected back what you said accurately, right? If it's not accurate, then tell them what they missed and have them do it again. But once they've done an accurate reflection of what you said, then you switch roles. So now you as the expressor become the listener, and the listener becomes the expressor, and they have the opportunity to share how they feel around that topic. This way both parties are heard, and you know that you'll have your chance to share if you're the listener. Last point, this is a really important point. One reason why oftentimes we don't end up summarizing what our partner said, or maybe we'll summarize it and then we'll say but and then say something else, right? You don't want to do that. They say that if you say but, you're essentially invalidating everything that came before it. So at all costs, try to avoid saying but. If you need to, say and, right? Yeah, I know you said that, and I think this, right? Just a little tip. But so here's the main thing I want to share. Saying that you understand what they're saying, or to summarize what they said, doesn't mean that you agree with them, right? You can understand what your partner is saying and you could repeat it back to them, but that doesn't mean that you agree that it's the right thing to do, or the right way to look at a situation. So if you have this view, which a lot of us do, try to, pull it apart, knowing that understanding does not equal agreeing. That'll make it easier for you to reflect back. Okay, so that's that for the expressive listener. Now I want to talk about the activity, right? This is a really fun activity, or not fun necessarily, but I really like what it does for a relationship. I will say me and an old colleague of mine actually came up with this. I don't know if anyone else has done it before, but Asia, if you're watching this, I hope you don't mind me sharing this with the world. If you do, it's too late anyways. But I like to call this activity, or me and Asia like to call this activity, jars of patience. So odds are, if you're watching this video and you're a couple, or you're considering going to therapy, you probably have come to a point where you have little patience for your partner, right? The conversations usually escalate really quickly, right? Emotions run high, and it's hard to stay calm when you feels like you've heard the same thing over and over and you're still not getting anywhere. So I like to use this jar, it's just a regular mason jar, as a representation of your patience. And what you want to do is each partner gets a jar, and you want to actually take a Post-it notepad and write down every issue in your relationship that eats away at your patience, right? If you have an issue with him not washing the dishes, write it on here and put it in here. If you have an issue with her, maybe always criticizing you, right? Pull it off and put it in here. And what it does is that it gives you each a physical representation of the issues in your relationship that you want to be fixed or at least to work on. I think this does great things on multiple ways. One, obviously, you have everything in one place, so you know what it is that's bothering you. What I found is that once you can have a physical representation and actually count all the things that are in here, it makes it feel less overwhelming, right? Your relationship doesn't feel quite as, say, hopeless. Because you know that there's a finite number of things that are really bothering you that you want to be dealt with. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that it gives you a sense of progress, right? As you start to work through the issues that you each put in your jars, you can take them out, tear them up, and toss them away. And so you start to get this sensation that we're actually getting somewhere. And I think that does a lot. Especially it's great when couples come in and there's nothing left in their jars. Of course, you're always, every week you can add something else new in, something comes up and you want to deal with it. But as far as the big themes, it's nice to have them all in one place. So it's called Jars of Patience. Try it, right? You can use cups, containers, whatever you have. You each have your own. Don't look at your partner's jar, right? This stays personal to you. The only time that you guys will start to take things out and share them is when you do the expressor listener exercise. So that's how it works. Pretty simple, but I think it's a really nice way to structure this activity. And last thing, I like to encourage couples to set aside a time at least once a week where they do the expressor listener exercise. Because the reality of it is life is busy, right? You're working, maybe you have kids, so many things come up. If you don't set aside time to work on your relationship, then a lot of things in the relationship get neglected. And if you have kids, then you know what I'm talking about. Because once kids come into the picture, it can be hard to find couples time. But it's really important. That's something that you don't want to neglect. Even if it's just for 15 minutes, right? Give yourself 15 to 20 minutes a week, or one night, maybe before bed, where you have some time to yourselves to really share some of the things that you would like to be worked on. And you'll have your jars of patience to pull them out for them and to work on them. Okay? Again, if you do this, give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. And stay tuned. The next video, I'm going to be talking about how to prevent escalations, right? How to prevent outbursts when you're talking with your partner around difficult topics. So stay tuned and watch that too. All right, take care.